Hello, everyone, and welcome back to part two of the Modern Tag Teams in Wrestling episode. So, last time we discussed kind of factions and the indie scenes, but this time we're going straight into it with a minor disagreement between myself and Harry McDonald as we discuss FTR and the Young Bucks and, well, AEW's tag team division as a whole. We've got a lot more in this episode than just that, so stay tuned and we'll see you in the episode. Bye for now.
Porter then. So tag team wrestling, now one of the kind of criticisms it gets, or one of the many criticisms it gets, it's very spot heavy now. I think we all have to kind of agree that it is very spot heavy, and the dives, in my opinion, are getting out of hand. The dives are getting crazier and crazier and crazier, and in tag team matches in particular in we're talking about the 4 versus 4 and Survivor Series and trios matches, all that kind of stuff. Do you think we need to kind of rein it in a little bit, get those more? Because there's a few old rules that obviously the NWA and WCW had, regarding tag team wrestling, and when they were broken, people lost their shit for them. We're talking about in particular with stuff when it was illegal to throw your opponent over the top rope. So you'll get villain teams that will distract the referee while the other person, their teammate, throws the person over the top rope, and people lose their shit. It's a simple rule. It doesn't take much. All you're doing is literally going over the ropes. But people lost a shit for it. But now, we got to the point where, after about 2 minutes, 5 minutes in a tag match, it seems, the rules have gone out the window. The referee doesn't know who's a legal man, and it's just everything's kind of going on. Has it gone too far, Josh?
I think it has gone too far in a sense that I think some of the simple rules are a bit unnecessary, like throwing someone over the top rope. It's wrestling. You're allowed to leave the ring in certain matches. That's new. In 3 series, that has never happened. But yeah, no, I think throwing someone over the top rope being illegal, a little bit silly in a tag match, because it's a tag match. There's 4 people. Shit like that's meant to happen, or is expected to happen. But I think FTR arguably are one of the best tag teams in the world in regards to the old rules. I think they do the old style of tag team wrestling better than anyone else does. Simply because they respect the old rules of tag team wrestling. The Young Bucks, I think, are overrated personally.
Oh.
Because then
Tapping, bro.
My issue with the Young Bucks is they're just 2 flippy dippy guys.
I see his point, to be fair, but at the same time, the tag team wrestling scene.
Harry's just like, no, fuck this.
They're 2 very flippy guys, but at the same time, they're 2 of the best wrestlers AEW have.
Yeah,
they're also the reason tag team wrestling is so big, because they changed it and made it what it is now.
Exactly.
I still personally think they're overrated because.
I mean, fair enough. But at the same time, would AEW, who has probably the best tag team division in the world, be as big as they are without the Young Bucks? I think personally, it's all down to personal taste. I think they're the best tag team in the world, and I like all types of wrestling, comedy, serious stuff like tag wrestling. I like everything, right? And my series, just based on ability alone, they are the best. There's better people that can cut promos and stuff like that. But in terms of overall, I think they are the best.
Interesting. Now, I think 5 years ago, the Young Bucks were the best. New Japan Young Bucks were the best.
So who the best then? Curious.
FTR.
Yeah, FTR.
I think FTR are the best tag team in the world because they are the only tag team in the world that stick to the traditional tag team rules. There's no ridiculous flippy dippy stuff off ladders. There's no massive spots. They'll do the odd one for emphasis, but I think they're
at the same time though. That's not every single tag. AEW, I can kind of see the point. A lot of the tag teams in AEW are flippy people, especially with Private Party as well. But at the same time, there's a lot of wrestling which isn't all that flippy stuff. You've never seen me and Harry pull out a 450, and you probably never will.
Yeah, I'm the king of the.
I'm talking like mainstream, and when I say
But yeah,
flippy
it's the
dippy, I
same
don't
way
mean
if we're
like,
talking mainstream.
yeah,
These
I don't
guys
mean
who-
like off the top rope. It just off the top rope moves. I mean having every other spot a flip or every other spot a dive. I think you can have a spot without it being ridiculous flips. Like a superplex would work.
What? Yeah, you have a serious point here, because at the end of the day, the reason why FTR stand out is because they're doing simple stuff effectively. The reason all they've got to do is be simple and go by old tag team wrestling, and it works. I'm not being funny, right? The reason they stand out in AEW is because they are different. Every other team there, and don't get me wrong, I like watching pretty much every single team in that division, right? But the reason why they are different is because they don't do all the flippy stuff. And I think there's room for both of it. That's what I'm trying to say. Personally, by in-ring ability, I think the Young Bucks are the best tag team in the world. But I see your point as to FTR are different, and that's the reason why they are so successful, because there is room, right, for plenty of teams to come in and be like, I'm going to be the new FTR and do the exact same thing. And if everyone did that, it would be boring, because then people would want to see the Young Bucks. But the reason why they have a place is because they're going back in time to where that's what old traditional tag team wrestling is, and it works. It's simple. You look at them versus the Young Bucks. That was probably the best match on, was it All In or whatever card that was on, right? That was one of the best matches, if not the best. And your whole point about they don't do flippy stuff, the reason they lost the match, in terms of psychology, the reason they lost the match was because they did a flippy spot and it cost them. Realistically, they know exactly what they're doing, and they're one of the smartest teams on the entire planet right now.
Now, you mentioned the FTR versus Young Bucks match. I genuinely think that was one of the best tag matches of all time.
I agree.
Because it was the perfect combination of flippy dippy bullshit and traditional tag wrestling.
Exactly.
In a way, though, as well, if we're talking about all the flippy tag team, one of the best tag matches I've ever watched AW produce was the Young Bucks versus Omega and Hangman. That was rated really highly. And I actually think it is one of the best tag matches that I've watched. And that still shows guys who are known for flippy dippy stuff. Obviously, Omega and Hangman are a little bit different, but they can still put it off without any trouble. So in a way, sometimes it works.
Here's what I think. I think the Young Bucks are the best tag team at what they do. But what they do is shit. They're the best at doing it, though. They're the best at doing it, and I appreciate that they have their style, but their style is not one that I think is mainstream and one which is going to get the division where it needs to be. What's missing, Harry's correct with something, though, is the problem is now the Young Bucks create the problem where what's missing is the Young Bucks create the problem where everyone just wants to be the Young Bucks. And so every tag team coming into the business is just the Young Bucks version 2. Like I sometimes watch AEW when I feel a bit suicidal. And
I'm not by the way, let me chill it up. I'm just laughing at the fact that Lucas doesn't watch AW normally. Let's just clear that up before I get cancelled on Twitter.
I'm going on Twitter. That's going on Twitter.
It's a total joke. But, oh, God. Oh, my cat's going crazy. Fucking hell. Where was I? Yeah, okay. Young Bucks. Yeah, so I watch a bit of AEW, and there's a tag team called like Top Flight, I think.
Yeah. You've got Top Flight and you've got the Acclaimed.
They're just another Young Bucks. Like, why are you hiring them for? They just do the same moves. You could literally, if Matt Jackson or the other one got injured, you could just put in the other one of the Top Flight and then have the same match. What's missing in tag team wrestling? But the best tag team era, and this is the reason why the 8 was the best tag team era, is you had a tag team for everything. You had your big guys, Demolition. You had young guys, technical wrestling in like the Heart Foundation. Yeah, you had like character wrestlers, like Big Boss Man and Akeem, Twin Towers, etc. You had a tag team for every box. Now it's just flippy stuff, 100 versions of that, and even Debris, Street Profits, they're doing the same thing. Like, really good tag team.
Street Profits are fucking amazing. That's the difference, though.
They are good.
In the way you did WWE's Young Bucks, but I feel like they can do a match without any flippy stuff and still put on arguably a match of the night contender.
But the thing is, all I've got to say is, right, if you look in terms of what the people want to watch, right? The mainstream audience, right? A kid will be more interested in flips because it's, oh my God, how has he done that? Than chain wrestling. That's a fact, right? So kids would be more drawn to the Young Bucks than FTR, right? You look at men, even myself, Lucas obviously is an exception, but I'm pretty sure that Josh would agree with me here, right? Would you rather watch the finish of a match be a 450 splash than a super kick? What would you rather have? Because personally, that's a more entertaining thing.
I'd rather just have a wrist lock.
Is that like, would you rather have
Arm ringer.
I think in regards to finishes, that's a whole nother episode that we could do. But I personally,
and we'll do that one, mate.
I think the 450 splash is a move that could be effective because obviously you're putting your entire body weight on someone. But at the same time, kicking someone in the jaw is also going to be pretty effective.
But what would you rather watch? In terms of, obviously, not even logically, in terms of being a wrestling fan, right? Would you rather watch a 450 splash, which probably you couldn't do, but that's not even an insult, right? Or a super kick, which most people realistically could, even if it's could probably just about pull off. I personally, if the super kick looks good enough, fair enough, because some super kicks look insane, right?
But Dolph Ziggler's super kick's an example. He's just always connected it. It's always
even Dolph Ziggler selling a super kick looks good.
Dolph Ziggler's arguably the best seller in WWE.
Yeah.
In my
Right.
opinion.
Anyway, we're going off on another tangent. Let's go back to the question.
Yeah.
back to the question.
I don't know. It's a tricky one. Like, I prefer super kicks, but in this day and age, super kicks are overused.
Mm-hmm.
Super kicks are a move that have been ruined, probably by the Young Bucks, to be fair. But I
Super
think
kicks finish end of the day.
yeah, I think 450 splash is overused, but it's used more effectively.
Yeah, I agree.
I'd prefer a super kick finish though, but I think a 450 finish is more realistic at the moment.
Yeah. So look, I think in terms of but the thing is, I think to bring it back to what I was saying though, I think what's missing is the variety though. I think that while it's good to have these tag teams like Young Bucks, like Street Profits, like New Day, like insert names here, like it would be nice to see variety. It'd be nice to see two big guys that don't flip. That's another thing that annoys me. You get a big guy tag team, and then after about 2 or 3 matches, they start jumping out the ring. You're like, what the hell's going on? Like, I mean, I love the Viking Raiders, but I sit just like, what the hell is Ivar doing? Like,
nothing's more impressive than watching a big guy do a moonsault. I've never been more impressed than watching. Imagine you saw Otis pull out a shooting star press. Nothing would pop you more.
Lucas, right?
I'd be like, it's not his role to do it.
Your wrestling style, right, Lucas, is more of a big guy style, right? If you saw yourself or Sam Dufresne, right, pull out a 450 corkscrew plancha, dive onto the outside, people would lose their absolute shit. If I did it, people would probably still be like, yes. If you personally did it, people would be like, holy fuck. You would get a better reaction than me for doing it. I think if you can do it, why not do it? Because they still do their power moves. Like the Viking Raiders is an example, right? They still do their power moves. If you can do it, that's so much more impressive than a skinny guy like me or fucking anyone doing that. Do you know what I mean?
Kind of, because you got Keith Lee though. He's the doing everything guy. I think that this is my problem with it. I think. Like, it's just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. It's how I've always felt. And I feel that the problem is that then when you try to build these people as monsters, but then like they're taking falls to like, moves which don't usually are finishes and stuff, like it gets quite very confusing. And for me, it's hard I can't invest. Like, 20 years ago, like you wouldn't have seen Demolition do it. Demolition, literally one of the best tag teams of all time. You would not have seen them do moonsault, top rope stuff. It's not it wasn't their thing to do. And I think that's what we need to. That's, in my opinion, needs to be brought back. But I know there are a section of the audience that do obviously want to see, the bullshit style basically, of big guys doing flips, even though it makes no sense.
Yeah, but
if they get injured doing them,
right.
they don't get injured doing them because
Obviously,
£300.
but in terms of wrestling, if you see an like 6'6" monster do a fucking 450 splash, would it impress you?
No.
Why
It's not their role. I don't want to
Then
see
you're
it.
just fucking boring.
I don't want to see it.
No. In terms of logic, or as a wrestler, you speaking, right? If you as a normal person and you watch this absolute hench, obviously like about the same size as me, obviously, like absolute hench, monster guy hit some incredible flippy move, would that not be impressive?
No.
Every person I can agree that's impressive. Whether it's logical or not, scrap that out the window. It's still impressive, right?
It is, but isn't it also impressive when you see like Authors of Pain launch people into the crowd, or when you see you know what I mean? When you see like, and that's their role. When you saw them do power bombs on people,
but
and they're powering one person on another, that was impressive, wasn't it?
We're not in the
Yeah, but the thing is, what's more impressive?
that was
A
2
guy
years
who
ago.
can just do power bombs and pounces on little guys, or a guy who can do a power bomb and pounce to make it look amazing, but then hit a power bomb and then do a moonsault off the top rope.
We're stepping in very dangerous territory here because we had this discussion with Mitch Baxter on episode 1 where we discussed big men in wrestling. And we said we don't like little guys doing big guys' moves like power bombs, etc.
But I love that.
Now, although...
No, I completely understand it. It would look more impressive with some
like-
big guy doing it than me hitting a power bomb on someone.
Now, although it is impressive to see a small guy pick up another small guy and do a power bomb, I think that if they kick out from said power bomb, I think it then takes away from a big guy pulling up a power bomb on another big guy.
I'm going to put my hand up like a little kid, yeah? Like I'm
Go on.
But I need to say this, right? This person I'm about to mention is not a small guy. But if you look at Tyler Bate, right? His whole gimmick is that he's small in terms of like height-wise, but he's strong as fuck. Yeah? The reason the crowd pops for him so much is because he's small, he gets a sympathy vote, but also because he's so strong, he can pull off incredible feats of strength. If I suddenly, right, pulled Sam Dufresne in, or for anyone watches doesn't understand Sam Dufresne, let's say if I pulled the Big Show in and power bombed him, right, people would seriously be like, "Oh my god, how has he done that?" Right? If the person can pull it off, I think it's worth it. As a small person myself, not in terms of like size-wise, right? As a small person myself, I seriously think that if you can pull off a power move, you should do it. Me and Lucas once spoke about a match between us, right? And we spoke about how he wanted me. Lucas said this to me. He wanted me to hit him with a power move. Now, the reason for that being, I would get a good reaction for it. And it also establishes the fact that Lucas is a huge guy himself. He's like, do you know what I mean? Like, if I power the Big Show, not only does it establish that he is a big guy, even though he's taken a move, right? It's also established the fact that I am stronger than I may look. And that's why I disagree with the whole thing of, oh, so little people shouldn't do their moves. Because if you think about other people on the independents, like, I don't know, Joe Lando, Danny Black, whatever, if they pull off an incredible big man move, like, I'm trying to think, my mind's gone blank, right? But if you pull off a big man move, right, say like fucking
Power slam.
Let's just say a running power slam, right? If they pull off that on a huge guy, that is seriously impressive. Right? If I pull off a power slam on a big guy, same thing, right? Whereas if a big guy pulls it off, it's like, oh yeah, fair enough, he can do it. It's still impressive. If a smaller guy does it, then it's like, okay, seriously, I'm paying attention to them. Because not only does it establish the bigger guy, because it's proving that they are this huge man. So any move he does from there on, it's like, okay, fair enough. He's going to get wiped out by it because this guy's huge. But also it establishes the smaller guy because it proves, okay, this guy has the power.
You see that? You have a good point, but that wasn't my issue. My issue was guys using it as match fillers against other little guys.
And well, I'll further this because you mentioned me, so I feel I have to come defend my name.
Yeah.
The thing is, I think they work as one-offs. This is the thing. Like, if you was to body slam me, that would be your one-off thing. It would be a one thing that happened once. It doesn't happen every show. Tyler Bate, I think obviously that's his gimmick. That's fine.
And he is genuinely hench if you look at him.
Yeah, like, you know, and that's somewhat believable. But I think the specific issue we're talking about was guys who have regularly doing the big guy moves on small guys, and we think that's wrong because you need to leave something for those guys to do, and it's the same vice versa. I feel because by Ivar doing dives, I feel very strongly that it's just taken away from the fact that the Street Profits do dives and that Lucha House Party do dives. Like, I don't think they need it. That's basically where I'm at. With it. And I think
it's a bit off topic, but I posted on my Snapchat story. I don't know if you saw my phone a minute ago, right? I posted on my Snapchat story. I said, check out the Talking Crap podcast. Me and Charlie are going to be. Some woman just said no. Can we just...
Jesus.
No.
We'll definitely cut that out.
That's fair enough. At least they're honest.
But look, it's time to go back to Porto. It's time for the second part of the Pipe Bomb Promo Challenge.
Oh,
yeah, and it's Harry doing it now.
Oh.
Right, guys, so just to pause here a second. So we're going to do this Pipe Bomb promo. We're going to do a fun go.
Right,
okay. So coming to you, Porter, at a time for the Pipe Bomb Promo Challenge. We know the participant is going to be Harry this time. Right, so explain the two things again.
So, part 2 of the Pipe Bomb Promo Challenge. First episode, we've had 2 parts. Obviously, you know the rules, but I'm going to say them again anyway, just in case you forgot, because it has been like 3 hours since then. Right, so 1 minute to give us a promo based on the topics that I've already given you, but I'm going to give you them again. And you get scored out of 10. 5 by me, 5 by Lucas. Right, so the topics are simple. You are at DKW Demolition facing the returning Rebellion for the vacant tag team championships. You got that?
Of course, bro. Of course.
No worries. Right. So your 1 minute to give us a promo starts now.
Were you telling me drop kicks? You don't know it's the Big Mac Harry McDonald here, one half of the best damn tag team in drop kicks, the Brotherhood. And now I've just been informed the man is about to face the Rebellion. Now, let's be honest, the Rebellion are way more of a decorated tag team here in Dropkicks. Not only are they the tag team champions, which me and Charlie Brooks have never had an opportunity to fight for, but they're also both future and past British champions. But the problem is that I have is I've never faced the Brotherhood, baby. And you know what that is? Because they're scared of us. We've got one half the Rebellion, Jack Torino, a hobo-looking ass who seriously looks like he can't get out of bed. The Sun slated him for being a Wilco worker during the day. And let's be honest, that's all he is. He doesn't deserve to be in the ring with me and Charlie. And to be honest, you've got Taylor James, or is it Essex? Because my guy can't decide what name he has. He changes it every 2 minutes to try and stay relevant. But either way, Taylor James or Aiden, let's be honest, mate, you're never going to be relevant. Whereas me and Charlie Brooks, we are the real guys you want to be dealing with. So step in the ring with us, and it's as simple as 1, 2, 3. Because that is all you need to worry about. Once the Brotherhood's hands are raised, that is the end of it, my guy. I'll speak to you soon.
Okay.
I think now you can understand why Harry does the promos.
One thing. One key thing here. Although your promo was very, very good, it was also just shy of 45 seconds over. You almost doubled the time you were meant to hit.
No way I could possibly beat Harry in a promo challenge.
Honestly, think about it. I've given Lucas more content. So, technically,
we have over probably 3 hours of this podcast to use as content.
We've already got on like 4 tangents already. Like it's just another Harry McDonald tangent.
Scores. Get to the
Scores.
scores.
I'm right. I don't think I know I'm normally harsh, but this is not harsh. This is like, what do I do now? 40, nearly a minute over. Nearly a minute over. I'm gonna have to go with a 3 3/4 for that. Like
Harry can't beat me. Harry can't beat me.
You've broken a record.
You've gone the longest I think anyone's ever done.
Yeah.
It's fucking cat.
And I hear some girls like
Can we also appreciate the fact that now Harry cannot beat me?
He can. I've actually not heard Lucas's score yet.
I got 4.5.
Oh yeah. No, he can't. Go on, Lucas. What's your score?
He could if I was to give Harry a 5, he could beat you because then it would be 8 3/4 or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought he said. I thought he said 3 1/4.
3 3/4.
Oh, so it's still possible.
I can't. The thing is, I can't give him a 5 because he went so over. So he has to lose points because of it. So he has to lose 1 point minimum. So yeah, I'll go for 4.
Well, you know what, lads? Fuck the podcast.
How does it feel, Harry, to know I am now the promo guy and the rest?
Harry's promo was better, but I had to be punished because of the time issue. It's very strict on that time.
I'm taking that as a win.
But
I'm raising my title, and that is a win.
I go over. It's bad.
Harry,
thing is though, a lot of people are out of
like 12 seconds under or over, and you would have probably gotten a higher score.
Yeah. But anyway, obviously, I think the promos as well. Like, everyone's out of touch with them because obviously no shows and stuff. But right, the final question then, and these are going to be timed answers because, well, it's been 5 hours. So, 20 seconds. We'll be on the clock for each of you. Who is today, pound for pound, the best tag team in the world?
Brotherhood. Brotherhood. The Brotherhood.
These are Brotherhood. Fair enough. Charlie?
Good question. Brotherhood.
Yeah! Oh, brother!
Okay, apart from yourselves, then we should have clarified that. Apart from yourselves, who are the best tag team in the world right now?
Young Bucks.
Young Bucks. Any reason why?
Because they're just the best. It's simple.
Fair enough, Charlie.
In me, I'd have to go with an underrated option, and that being the Street Profits. I know
Underrated?
it's weird, but they're very underrated in my opinion, and I feel like they could definitely be arguably the best.
I like Street Profits. Josh, I know what you're saying before you even answer.
Yeah, you know what I'm going to say. You know I'm going to say Motor City Machine Guns.
I thought that.
Motor City Machine Guns are my all-time favourite tag team. To be fair, they could easily take all-time favourite wrestler for me.
You got hard on for them.
Yeah, Motor City Machine Guns always are outstanding. I think they're the most underrated tag team in TNA history because they've only won the tag championships twice. And there was 10 years nearly difference between them winning their first one and their second one. And they defeated Young Bucks before his Generation Me.
You know, I
Fair enough. I don't know. I'll say them. I'll say Hurt. I like Hurt Business. It's a faction, though, and it's a faction. Hurt Business or Street Profits, I'd say, or FTR. One of those three. But it's good that
Jackson agreed on something.
We're definitely going to bring you back because I think there's more to this discussion. And we obviously urge people to watch that first episode where we discussed all the tag teams from minorities. Until then, obviously, I've been Lucas Jackson, joined by Josh Porter, and our guest, of course, the Brotherhood, Charlie and Harry. Until next time, we shall see you very, very soon. Stay safe. Take care. Bye-bye.
Take it easy.
See you later.